But when it comes to the question how,
Good morning, dear viewers. We hope that you started your day with a good mood. Meanwhile, we are broadcasting live from Samarkand on the second day of Climate Forum. Yesterday was very productive for Samarkand. It hosted high-level talks with the 5 leaders of Central Asian countries as well as 4 leaders of leading EU institutions. Today, we are here at the second day of Climate Forum. Behind me, as you can see, there is a plenary session on the green economy. To talk more on the agenda and what is up to, why is green economy so important to discuss, we are here with the project manager of the Ministry of Ecology, Environmental Protection and Climate Change, Charles Norman. Sir, please. So what is on the agenda and why are we talking about the green economy today?
So green economy is a vital part of sustainable development and tackling climate change. We know that Uzbekistan is rapidly growing, both in terms of population, city size, economy, things like water use and energy use. And people need those resources, and we have to carry on that route to encourage prosperity and development. However, in the face of climate change crises, we cannot simply carry on doing that in an unenvironmentally friendly way. And so it's vital that we talk about green growth, sustainable development, green economy to find ways that will bring people prosperity, bring economic benefits, but also be environmentally beneficial and certainly not harmful to the environment, because that kind of unsustainable growth is not going to work for Uzbekistan or the wider region.
What are the foreign experts proposing here? What kind of portfolio are they coming here with?
So at this session we have a number of international organizations, from United Nations organizations to financial organizations, multilateral development banks, and they all offer something different for Uzbekistan. So some will be offering capacity and knowledge building, so perhaps that's training for government officials, perhaps that's support for entrepreneurs and business owners. Then we have climate finance, which is a huge part of the global agenda, and that's about putting money into things that specifically tackle climate change adaptation and mitigation. So making cities or people or farming more resilient to environmental changes, or reducing emissions and that kind of thing. Then we have multilateral development banks. EBRD and EIB were part of the EU Central Asia Forum as well. And they're proposing investments into Uzbekistan for business and for government that will be beneficial for the whole country, not specifically focused on climate, but as I've just said, they recognise that you can't have this kind of growth without thinking about climate. So they're here to talk about other investments, other sectors that really need a climate angle to them. So there's billions and billions of dollars being proposed on different levels from different organisations here.
What is the main issue that we are focusing on, not only in Central Asia, but maybe Uzbekistan as well?
So I think they're overlapping because one of the main issues is things like connectivity and green growth and green trade. So of course, we know that relations between the Central Asian region and for Uzbekistan, this is vital. Trade routes, routes for open border crossings, that kind of thing are really important, and where they're growing, that's the regional cooperation we see. And tagging on this climate forum onto the end of the EU Central Asia Forum is really telling, because it shows that climate is becoming a huge part of that as well. So when people talk about climate now, they recognise that rivers cross borders, that dust storms cross borders, that trade and emissions are also come from things that require cooperation. So all of these dialogues are about finding ways to encourage collaboration, to encourage green growth together, and that's vital for Uzbekistan's prosperity as well. You know, Uzbekistan is developing its industry, developing its service sector, it's becoming a hub for trade across continents. And without green connectivity and green growth across the region, that's not going to be possible. And so it's vital that Uzbekistan works together on climate and on trade and on green growth together.
How about this session? What are we focusing here on?
So at this session we have 2 representatives from governments, Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, as well as international organisations. UN Habitat are here, Global Green Growth Institute are here, EBRD for example, and so they represent all of those different financial institutions. So the main discussion here is about the barriers people are facing and about the ways that we can overcome them. So how can we kind of approach these issues in a different way? What ways can we sort of think outside the box, how can we collaborate. So for example, UN Habitat here are here to talk about cities. Cities are vital to economic growth because most of the economy is focused in cities and most of the growth is focused in cities in Uzbekistan. So if we plan our cities better, they can be better connected, they can be cleaner, better for the environment, better places to live and better for the economy. Then we have financial and economic ministers and they're here to talk about, so we have those better, more sustainable cities, how do we then integrate them into the whole country? How do we trade across borders? Then EBRD are here and they're going to be talking about investment strategies. So how do we bring foreign money and local money in to make that happen? So we see issues around barriers with financial issues, barriers with knowledge, barriers with technologies, and each one of these has something different to offer. So that's what they're discussing in this session today.
Are there any important proposals or initiatives that will be proposed today? What are we expecting by the end of today?
So we're expecting a huge amount of high-level bilateral meetings between our government and the international organisations. We've seen already yesterday also on the high-level session a number of high-level proposals for different centres, different regional initiatives that are going to help with water resources, that are going to be helping with rare earth metals, for example. And all of these they're great ideas and now they require substance behind them. They require partnerships and coalitions to help make that happen. And that's the kind of thing that today's more technical, more focused sessions are going to be talking about. So how can we make these regional initiatives happen? What technologies, what partnerships? So there's a number of strategies and roadmaps that are going to be announced, I think, over the coming months from this forum that will then show how that these collaborations will actually benefit Uzbekistan, benefit the international organisations. What concrete actions will people see when they're walking around in Tashkent, in Uzbekistan? Because those kind of outcomes are going to be really, really important to actually make that happen. It's one thing talking about it, but now hopefully we'll actually see action coming from these.
Last but not least, in your view, what is the role of this platform that we are here today?
So like I say, I think this platform is about bringing together partnerships. We know that Uzbekistan is of huge interest to international organisations, to the EU, to other countries. And what it's about is saying, okay, so we have these links now, we have this interest. Uzbekistan and Central Asia as a whole, massively important to the global economy, certainly in the future. And what is really important is that we build those coalitions now, that we find out even personal contacts, exchanging business cards, getting to know each other, talking about issues, talking about solutions, and finding new ways to develop green growth in Central Asia and Uzbekistan.
Thank you so much for your time, Charles.
Thank you very much.
So, dear viewers, as you can see, we're focusing on the connectivity, on the collaboration, the water sources, and the agenda of today's sessions promises to be productive. Stay tuned not to miss more information on today's sessions. We will give you the latest information soon in our next programs. Thank you for watching this broadcast and see you in the next programs.
My advice was, look at the people, look at the quality.